Hey, people. That last movie I did yesterday, I finished it up. I was talking about this snail. They had many positions in the medieval writings. He was often fighting with the knights, and sometimes it looked like they were praying to the snail. And they'll tell you the snail represents death and resurrection. This is what the snail looks like. It looked like a slug with a house on his back. And snails are hermaphrodites. They both have a spear with their semen, and they could spear each other, and both snails could get pregnant, kind of like today's population. So in Egypt, this letter F, some of the tologists will say that it looks more like a slug or a snail without a shell than a serpent. They give it the viper, but I wouldn't believe anything that Egyptologists tell me. They're all ruled by the Vatican. The Vatican tells them what they can dig up. But this is one of the ancient F and Q. And I believe they use it for the same reason as in the Hebrew when it reads backward and forwards. The Q in the Hebrew can change between an F, a K, or a P. And the snail can change between the F, the PH, or the V. And so that's where they're getting this representing the afterlife, because the Q, the F, means to come after, follow after. And I was saying that, here when you're reading with the lower marks, it tells you, will from Snay, and then you come back and get this UL, the snail. And after looking at this a little closer, I see that this is missing, MSNA. And so, missing doesn't really get a ing, because ing is a cycle. A ring keeps cycling, means it keeps on going. But just missing, miss, na, no, not, from is not. Will from is not. SHLLS, a shell from. SHLL, final M could be pronounced as an S, or you just say from, a shell from. And will from snail, that's missing a shell. A snail that's got no shell, and it's talking about the language, it's talking about Snay. And so, just this MSNA, most of the time they'll say it's the Snay part that means hate. But the MSNA, in the Hebrew, they'll say it's Mishnah, and they'll say it means hate. And so it's probably more like mashing. If you're missing your shell, it's pretty easy mashing. And if you ever did any gardening, you know that you hate snails. The snails is what do the most damage. Snails and caterpillars eat all your leaves. And so I read in a little deeper in this, and I see that's what it's talking about, is the language. And like I said it before, that's what this Hebrew is about. They just left Egypt, and it's talking about how to read the ancient language. And you see it in here in this word that they say is words, these, had ever is the ALLE, Allah, the God. And the God is the knowledge, and two L's, of tongue, life. And that's the spoken word. And the debris is the written words. Had ever, EDDVRIS, had ever is the Allah, the spoken word. All call is rule. All call is roll. Your role, you rule your role. It's your job, and you rule it. So this LA, they got a lot of the world believing that means no or not. And it only means not when it's used in conjunction with other words. And like this here, this is CEILA, and it means to see not. And it means blind. Sila is a girl's name, meaning blind, or sixth, to see not. Coming from the Latin or Old Welsh. And Old Welsh comes from what they call Hebrew. And so you don't see something, if it's sealed, it's sealed. If you're in a box with a ceiling, you're sealed in. It covers the upper limits of the room. And you can't see the stars. You're sealed in a ceiling. And sealed bear rough ever makes. See ever hijacks. And in did breeze, B-R-E-Z-Z-E, and breezes, B-R-E-Z, and then Z-E is, or it, to breeze it. Too rick of 'em is all, had me, the land, had me, the land, the God's talking, me is the land. Earth, to had me assure at his ovaries, Ovaries is where it all happens. And I showed you that movie yesterday. This is the same word they say is Hebrews, the ovaries. At hired in, two D's, hired in. And so ovaries, hired in, is the ancient term for a surrogate mother, and the ovaries at hired in, the surrogate mother of Sema. Sema means, semi is partially, is semi, and the hired in semi of receipt, to possess as receipt, even though it's your husband's sperm and your egg put in a surrogate, it's still her blood that's traveling through that baby. She's going to leave a mark on it.
Children, fingers in your ears and make the la-la sound. La-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la.
So when somebody does this, they think they're saying, no, 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 I don't want to hear what you have to say. So here's a good one here in Moses' death foretold. That very same. They give a bunch of words, very same. But this is two B's, in box, B-O-X-S, boxes. In boxes, and that's what happened when you die. You see this word comes up often when it talks to somebody's death, but they'll never let you know that this is the box that you go into. You see it on that very same day that Noah entered into the ark. He went into the box. And they got a ton of words they say mean that very same. And there is another big list I see that they give that very same that's nowhere near this. So that very same day, that's a nice way of putting, if you're telling a story about somebody that did something stupid and died, that's just a nice way of saying, and that very same day, that's the day we put them in a box. And you can see here when they had to change it to strength because that very same just didn't work. After one dies, that very same in the boxes. You see how they had to add this on, but the Z-E meaning it or this, it's make moot, M-U-T. It don't talk no more in the boxes. And they're getting his full being holy. They're getting this from the word domicile, a permanent home. And domicile, Thomasel, timocel, your cell, forever time. Coming from the Latin home, the domus, domicilum, a dwelling. Is they mute in boxes, Thomasel, time to sell. Thomasel, your permanent home in your cell. The Thomasel loose of Anasel you. Is they mute in boxes, Thomasel lose of Anasel you. Honor sold you, and you lose. You lose of honor. that sold you. You know, a lot of people died for honor, and they be on that very same day. And whatever, whoever you, the almost box is at the end of your life, you're ready to die. They use these is lammer to crying, lammer to command the gods. You know, this is the words they use. Whoever you, the almost box is. They use these is lammer. And so this is the second part of that song of Moses. You see in the first part, you know, it was all the calls and replies. It lets you know the call and the replies. And you don't see this in another part I read it. And so all this last two paragraphs is written in a different format. You know, it's a paragraph where this was all written, you know, in songs and replies. And what they were saying was, all holler, the ovaries. You know, the ovaries is planted in the earth. These is here in view. You know, at the place, at the graveyard. You know, all holler, the ovaries, these is here in view. You know, in the hole dug in the earth. Assure in bears move. Assure all pine jerk who. To where is at arch at the top sen on. Assure any not in living. LVNI, and I is ing. That's that hieroglyph of a penis, dripping penis in Egypt. The ing, same as the king. And so it's now the living, and not in living his rule. Latches. The latches to shut the casket, put the latches on it. Whatever you, the almost have boxes. You know, the all MSE is right here. And this is HV, have, and then two of them, boxes. And whatever, whoever, however you, the almost have boxes they use. These is a lammer. All holler the ovaries. These is here in view. Assure in bears. Move. Assure all peeping. Jerk who. Where is sat? Arch. Sen on. The top sen on. Assure any not living. Make sure they're dead before his roll latches. Before you lock the box, make sure they're dead in there. So the reason my readings don't sound anything like the Vatican's readings and the Egyptologist readings is because I don't get no funding from the Vatican. Nobody's telling me what I can dig up. That shit they're spewing is about as worthless as a Facebook-supported politician. But you can see right here, you know, the ovaries. It's Mount Abram. Was the same word here, OVRIS, the crossover. You know, OVRIS. We call it an M, but it pronounces as an S. You know, the ovary from. Is the same word they say as Hebrews, OVRIS, OVRIM, the ovary from, out of the earth. You know, the place where the seed is planted in the earth. You know, the Hebrew is the ovary, the one that's going to take the seed. So I'm going to finish this up with a little bit of news. You know, this is a good channel, it's ADAPT 2030. And many of them will tell you, boy, there sure is a lot of food plants blowing up these days. Sure is a lot of our crops getting burned up and dying. And yeah, they're planning on starving us out soon. And so a lot of people will tell you, you know, plant a garden. And, you know, somebody's going to attack your garden. They're going to be picking your green fruit. You know, you're going to end up shooting people and eating people instead. But This is a good channel here, this Trillium Wild Edibles. And he's been doing this a while. He's got a lot of movies to tell you what you can go out and pick in a yard and eat. And that's the best way to garden, is don't let them know where your garden is and make it like a wild yard out there. And there's a couple other people that do this in different areas around America that show you, different plants and that grow in your area. And you find somebody, that does this in your area and it'll show you what you can survive on. And a lot of these channels, they all push Bitcoin, and that's not going to be worth anything. That's going to be easier to take away than cash. One flip of the switch and your money's locked up. If you want to invest, steel and lead, guns and bullets, silver and gold. But, your best investment is knowledge right now. You got to get all the knowledge while you can before they start shutting it down. And that's the main reason for the shutdown, is because all the knowledge we're able to get on the internet, all the things we're learning, that they're not going to be able to control us anymore. And so they're trying to take our power down enough so they don't lose to us. Alright, I'm going to cut this off here. Good day.